The pharmacy line stretched 12 people deep when the elderly man's hands began to shake. Robert Chen stood at the counter, his weathered fingers fumbling with an empty prescription bottle. The fluorescent lights of the CVS on Market Street hummed overhead, casting harsh shadows across his gaunt face. His cardigan, once a deep navy, now faded to the color of old denim, hung loose on his shrinking frame. "I'm sorry," he said to the pharmacist, his voice barely above a whisper. I can't pay for my medicine this month." The pharmacist, a tired woman in her 40s with glasses sliding down her nose, glanced at her computer screen. "Mr. Chen, this is your heart medication. You can't just skip it." "I know." His voice cracked. "But it's the medication or groceries. I've already skipped 2 meals this week." Behind him, a woman in yoga pants huffed loudly. "Are you serious right now? Some of us have places to be." Robert's shoulders curved inward, making him smaller. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But let's go back to where this really started. 18 hours earlier, when Robert's impossible choice became inevitable. The previous morning arrived with the kind of cold that settled into bones and stayed there. Robert woke at 5:30 a.m. in the studio apartment he'd lived in for 43 years, back when the rent was affordable and the neighborhood still had a butcher shop that knew his name. He moved through his morning routine with the careful precision of someone rationing energy. Toast, no butter. He'd run out 3 days ago. Tea, reusing yesterday's back. His pill organizer sat on the kitchen table, and he stared at it for a long moment before opening only the Monday slot. 6 pills left for his heart condition. 6 days until he was supposed to refill. The retirement check had come last Friday. After rent, utilities, and his other prescriptions, the ones that kept the diabetes and blood pressure somewhat controlled, he'd had exactly $47 left for 2 weeks of food and a $330 heart medication refill. Robert had been a mechanical engineer for 38 years. He designed parts for aircraft, held 2 patents, mentored dozens of younger engineers. He'd paid his taxes, saved when he could, done everything right. Then his wife, Sarah, got sick, the cancer that took her 5 years ago, along with their savings. Then his own health declined. Then inflation made his fixed income feel like pocket change. Now, at 74, he stood in his kitchen doing math that had no good answer. He could call his daughter Jennifer. She'd offered before, voice tight with worry over the phone from Seattle. But she had 3 kids in college and her own mortgage. He'd spent his whole life taking care of his family. The thought of becoming their burden made his chest ache worse than the angina. By 3 p.m., after a lunch of crackers and tap water, Robert made his decision. He'd buy 2 weeks of groceries, cheap stuff, rice and beans, peanut butter, and try to stretch the heart medication he had left. Maybe by the end of the month, something would change. Maybe a miracle would happen. At 4:30 p.m., he took the bus to the CVS, clutching his prescription bottle like a talisman. The bus driver was new, didn't know him, didn't make the small talk that used to make the journey feel less lonely. The pharmacy was crowded with after-work customers, everyone moving with the aggressive efficiency of people who had somewhere else to be. Robert took his number, 47, and sat on the plastic chairs that were always slightly too small, slightly too uncomfortable to really rest in. Around him, life happened. A mother juggled a toddler in a phone call. 2 teenagers laughed over something on a screen. A man in a business suit tapped his foot impatiently, checking his Rolex every 30 seconds. Robert watched them all with the bittersweet awareness of someone who'd lived long enough to know how fast it all goes. How quickly you go from being the man in the business suit to the old man people look through. Instead of that, number 47. He approached the counter with his prescription bottle, his Medicare card, and his dignity hanging by a thread. The pharmacist, Denise, according to her name tag, typed efficiently. Her face showed the particular fatigue of someone who'd been dealing with insurance companies and impossible situations all day. "Okay, Mr. Chen, your copay is going to be $330. Robert had known it was coming. Still, hearing the number out loud made it real. Made it impossible. "Is there?" His voice sounded thin, old in a way he hated. "Is there a generic? Or maybe a payment plan?" Denise's expression softened. "This is the generic. And I'm sorry, we don't do payment plans. You could try applying for the manufacturer's assistance program, but that takes 6 to 8 weeks. 6 to 8 weeks. He had 6 days of pills. "I can't pay for it," he said finally. The words tasted like failure. I can't pay for my medicine this month. The line behind him had grown. 12 people now, all with their own prescriptions, their own lives, their own problems. Some of us have places to be, the yoga pants woman snapped. Robert turned to apologize again, and that's when he saw the man directly behind him. Tall, early 50s, in a charcoal suit that probably cost more than Robert's monthly rent. But it was his face that caught Robert's attention. The way he was staring at the prescription bottle in Robert's trembling hands. His expression unreadable. Their eyes met for just a moment, and everything changed. The man in the charcoal suit stepped forward, and the pharmacy seemed to hold its breath. "Wait," he said, his voice carrying the kind of authority that made even the yoga pants woman stop her huffing. He turned to Robert, and his eyes held something Robert hadn't seen directed at him in a long time. Genuine attention. Not pity, but recognition. "Did you say you can't afford your heart medication?" Robert's face burned with shame. Being overheard was somehow worse than just telling the pharmacist. Yes. But please, don't let me hold up the line. How much is it?" The man directed this to Denise. "Sir, I can't discuss another patient's. $330, Robert said quietly. "But I can't accept charity. I just needed to see if there were other options." The man pulled out a wallet, black leather, the kind that aged well because it was actually expensive, and placed a credit card on the counter. "Put his prescription on this. And whatever else he needs." The pharmacy went silent. The teenager stopped scrolling. The mother's phone call trailed off mid-sentence. Even the toddler seemed to sense something significant was happening. "I can't let you do that," Robert said, even as his heart, his failing, expensive to maintain heart, hammered against his ribs. "You don't even know me." "No, but I know what you're going through." The man's jaw tightened. "My father, 3 years ago, same situation, career engineer, worked his whole life, ended up choosing between medication and food." He paused, and pain flickered across his face. "I didn't find out until after he'd had a major cardiac event. He didn't want to burden me." Robert felt his eyes sting. "I'm sorry." "Don't be sorry. Just let me do this. Let me do what I wish someone had done for him before it was too late." "Sir, I really can't," Denise started again. "Yes, you can. He's allowing it. I'm paying for it. And unless I'm very much mistaken, there's nothing in your corporate policy that prevents a customer from paying for another customer's prescription." The man's tone wasn't aggressive, just immovable. "So please, process it." Denise looked at Robert, who managed the smallest nod. Her fingers flew across the keyboard. "Okay, Mr. Chen, it looks like you also have 2 other prescriptions due for refill, your diabetes medication and blood pressure medication. Do you want those as well?" Robert opened his mouth to say no. He couldn't possibly accept more, but the suited man spoke first. "All of them. Whatever he needs. That'll bring the total to $570. "Fine." He handed over his card like it was nothing. Like $570 was coffee money. While Denise processed the payment, the man turned fully to Robert. "I'm Marcus Webb, and before you say anything else about not accepting charity, let me tell you what you're actually accepting, a chance to stay healthy enough to see your grandkids grow up. That's what my father missed out on because he was too proud to ask for help." "How did you know I have grandkids?" Robert asked. Marcus smiled, the expression warming his entire face. "Your phone case. I can see the corner of it in your pocket. It's got crayon drawings on it. Dad giveaway." Despite everything, Robert felt himself smile back. 3 of them, all in Seattle with my daughter. "When's the last time you saw them?" 2 years. The admission hurt. "Flights are expensive, and my daughter keeps offering to pay. But you're proud." "I get it." Marcus signed the credit card receipt Denise slid across the counter. "Here's the thing about pride, Mr. Chen. It's important. It keeps us strong, keeps us from being victims. But there's a difference between pride and isolation. Between standing on your own and refusing every hand that reaches out." The prescriptions came up in a white paperback. Denise handed it to Robert with a look that might have been approval, might have been relief. "These should last you a month, Mr. Chen. Make sure you take them with food." Robert clutched the back to his chest. "Thank you," he whispered to Denise, then turned to Marcus. "And you, I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything. Just promise me you'll take them. Promise me you'll be around for those grandkids." "I promise." Robert's hands trembled around the back. "But how can I ever repay you?" Marcus was quiet for a moment, considering. Then he reached into his suit jacket and pulled out a business card. Actually, there is something. I'm the CEO of Web Engineering Solutions. We design components for aerospace applications. He paused, letting that sink in. Your hands are stained with ink and graphite. The kind that doesn't come from crossword puzzles. You've got a callus on your right middle finger from years of technical drawing. And you said you're an engineer. Robert nodded slowly. 43 years. Retired 5 years ago. Here's what I'm thinking. We have a consulting project coming up, legacy system documentation. A lot of our newer engineers don't understand the older mechanical systems, the ones designed before everything went digital. We need someone who can bridge that gap. Marcus handed him the card. It's contract work, part-time, remote. $25 an hour, flexible schedule. Nothing that'll interfere with your Medicare. Just a few hours a week sharing knowledge. Robert stared at the card. Web Engineering Solutions. Marcus Webb, Chief Executive Officer. You're offering me a job? I'm offering you the dignity of earning what you need while sharing expertise that's actually valuable to my company. If you want it. If your pride will let you accept it. That's not charity, Robert said slowly. No, it's not. It's good business. I need your knowledge. You need reliable income. Everybody wins. The pharmacy had transformed from a sterile transaction space into something closer to sacred ground. The other customers had stopped checking their phones, stopped huffing impatiently. They were witnesses now to something that felt increasingly rare. One person seeing another person's humanity and acting on it. Robert looked down at the business card in his hand, then at the prescription back, then back at Marcus Webb. His throat worked as he tried to find words adequate to the moment. I designed hydraulic systems, he finally said. For commercial aircraft. I have 38 years of technical drawings in my apartment. Specifications, modifications, problem-solving documentation. I kept everything because. He paused, embarrassed. Because I couldn't bear to throw away proof that my career mattered. Marcus's expression grew intent. We're working with a major airline right now, updating maintenance protocols for their older fleet. Those technical drawings, that institutional knowledge, would be invaluable. Can you start next week? I could start tomorrow. Robert straightened slightly, and years seemed to fall away from his posture. I'm retired, Mr. Webb. That means I have nothing but time. Marcus, please. He smiled. And tomorrow works. Come by the office around 10. We'll set you up with a laptop, go over the project scope, get you on payroll. He paused. And Mr. Chen? The healthcare stipend our consultants receive will help cover future prescription costs. This time, the tears came. Robert didn't hide them, didn't apologize for them. They rolled down his weathered cheeks while his hands clutched the prescription bag and business card like lifelines. Which, in every sense that mattered, they were. My father's name was James, Marcus said quietly. He was a proud man. A good man. He died thinking he'd become a burden. His voice roughened. I swore that if I ever had the chance, if I ever saw someone in the same situation, I wouldn't let pride or circumstances steal someone else's father, someone else's grandfather. He extended his hand. So thank you, Robert, for letting me keep that promise. Robert shook his hand, the grip firm despite his trembling. Your father raised a remarkable son. He did. And I'm sure you've done the same with your daughter. Behind them, someone started clapping. Then another person joined. Within seconds, the entire pharmacy erupted in applause. The yoga pants woman had tears streaming down her face. The teenagers were filming, but respectfully, reverently. The mother held her toddler close and whispered something about kindness. Denise leaned across the counter. Mr. Chen, I'm putting a note in your file. Personal number. If you ever have trouble with insurance or prescriptions again, you call me directly. I'll figure something out. The kindness was overwhelming. Robert could only nod. Marcus walked him out of the pharmacy into the October evening. The air was crisp, carrying the scent of fallen leaves and car exhaust, city smells that Robert usually hated, but tonight felt like life itself, sharp and real and beautiful. I meant what I said about the job, Marcus told him. This isn't pity work. I need your expertise. I know, Robert said. And that might be the greatest gift of all, being needed again, being useful. Marcus's car was in the lot, a Tesla, midnight blue. Can I give you a ride home? The bus is fine. It's only 3 stops. Robert. Marcus's tone was gentle but firm. Let someone help you. Practice for the future when you'll need to let your daughter help you, or your grandkids help you. Life's not meant to be solitary. So Robert accepted the ride. They talked about engineering during the short drive, the satisfaction of solving mechanical problems, the beauty of elegant design, the way technology had changed but fundamental principles remained the same. By the time Marcus pulled up to Robert's apartment building, they'd sketched out a preliminary consulting plan on a napkin from the car's console. Tomorrow at 10, Marcus confirmed. Tomorrow. At 10, Robert agreed. He hesitated before getting out. Can I ask you something? When you saw me at the pharmacy, when you heard me say I couldn't pay, why did you step in? Really? Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Because my father died thinking he'd failed. And in his last days, he kept apologizing for getting old, for getting sick, for costing money. A man who'd worked every day of his life, who'd raised 3 kids and sent them all to college, who'd served his country and paid his taxes and been a good citizen. His voice broke. And he died apologizing for existing. I'm sorry. So am I. But I can't change what happened to him. I can only make sure that when I see someone else in that situation, I do something. He turned to look at Robert directly. You're not a burden. Your life has value. Your knowledge has value. You have value. I need you to believe that. I'm starting to, Robert said softly. That night, Robert called Jennifer in Seattle. He told her everything. The impossible choice, the pharmacy, Marcus Webb, the job offer. He listened to her cry with relief. Heard his grandchildren shouting in the background that Grandpa was going to visit soon. Now, right? I'll buy your ticket, Jennifer said. Thanksgiving. Non-negotiable. And before you argue, remember what that man told you about accepting help. So Robert agreed. He took his medications with a proper dinner, pasta with sauce, bread with real butter. He went out and bought. He laid out his work clothes for the morning. He pulled his technical drawings out of storage and organized them by system and year. And he thought about Marcus Webb's father, about all the others who faced impossible choices in silence, and about how one person's decision to see and act had changed everything. 3 months later, Robert stood in Webb Engineering Solutions' office at the company holiday party. He'd lost the gaunt look, gained back 15 pounds, started attending a senior center engineering club where he mentored high school students. His consulting work had expanded. Marcus was right, the knowledge was valuable, and Robert had become essential to 3 major projects. Jennifer and the grandkids had visited for Thanksgiving. They were coming again for Christmas. Marcus found him by the dessert table. How are you settling in? Like I never left, Robert said. Thank you, Marcus. For all of it. Thank my father. He's the one who taught me what matters. Marcus raised his glass. To second chances. To second chances, Robert echoed. And to people who create them. Around them, the party continued. Engineers and executives, young and old, all part of something bigger than individual success. But in that moment, 2 men stood in quiet understanding of a simple truth. That dignity wasn't about never needing help, but about recognizing our shared humanity. That the measure of a life wasn't what you accumulated, but what you did when you saw someone struggling. That kindness, in the end, was the only thing that really mattered. Robert went home that night with a paycheck in his pocket, medications in his bag, and hope in his heart. He was 74 years old, and his life had just begun again. All because one person in a pharmacy line decided that another person's struggle mattered more than convenient silence.